Welcome to, by the way, with Beth and Stacey. We are having fun here on our set and just talking about what we're getting ready to talk about and kind of made ourselves giggle. So
we made ourselves giggle a lot.
It's going to be a great show because I think it's a lot of people's favorite topic. So just think about, what do you like to talk about when you see others in the grocery store? What do you talk about?
Mm-hmm.
What do you
wake up thinking about?
What do you call your children or your parents and say, this is going to be the topic today? What is it?
What is it?
It's the weather.
The weather.
We're talking about weather extremes in Clay County today. So it's going to be a great show.
It is going to be a good show because and I remember, too, they lived through a couple of them. But, it is funny because it's like, of all the topics in the world, that's what everybody talks about, the weather.
Wherever you go. And when you wake up in the morning, that's what you think about. Like, how should I dress? Especially if you live in the Midwest, because you could have all 4 seasons in one day.
Yep.
So what do you wear? I really don't follow the weather much because my mom follows the weather and my husband follows the weather.
So you don't, Jim,
so there's no need for me to. They call and tell me.
Yeah. Jim, neither one of us ever follow. I'm like, wonder what's going to happen.
I'm not a worrier about the weather. It's just, it is what it is. And it's like, I can't change it. And I don't want to, I have other things to think about. So it doesn't, plus Jason always says, well, you don't have to think about it because you don't get up in the morning and drive in it. Like he has like a 35-minute commute to work.
Sure.
So he does give it a little thought, especially in the winter, just to make sure that, it's not super foggy or it's not going to be super slick. So in case he needs to allow a little extra time. But I work from home, so I don't have to think about that. And he says that's why I don't really care.
Well, I think he's right. I think
maybe
he's
a little bit right, but I've never been somebody that.
Yeah, I never cared about the weather. I wasn't going very far. I don't live out in the country. I can always get wherever I need. If I can't, Jim can walk wherever we need. But I don't really get to. I don't know. I just don't really. I don't really care about. Like if somebody be like, "Oh my gosh, have you been watching where there's a storm coming?"
Yeah. There's going to be a big cool front come through on Thursday.
Okay.
Thanks for telling me. But I know a lot of people like to think about that, and that's okay too. And I like to think about weather extremes. I find this fascinating. So what we're going to talk about here in a little bit, it is fascinating to me.
It is. I am one of I think that the weather, I find it fascinating too. I love storms.
I do too.
I'm
the gal
storms.
that will be peeking out the window or sitting out on the porch when a big thunderstorm rolls in.
Absolutely.
I want to feel the rain coming and I want to smell it.
I know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love it. One time when Jim and I were first married, and once again, we don't pay attention to the weather, and we were living on a little house on Clan Street. We had a little dog named Molly, and we were walking. And we were literally on 12th Street, right there where, right behind the Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
That street
area.
Before nothing was there. This was like in 1988, 89.
Mm-hmm.
We're walking, Molly, and it's like a sunny day. Well, you know how you live in the Midwest, so things just pop up. And we're just walking. And Jim was like, man, it smells like rain. And we literally turned around and looked toward the west, and you could see it.
Oh, no. I predict you got wet.
Oh, we totally got wet. And I'm just like, oh, my gosh. So, we're thinking we're going to and it was just like, a wall of rain coming. And we're just walking. And next thing you know, it was a hot days. And it just started pouring. And we just laughed. And we just walked home. Poor Molly, my little dog at the time.
She was not real happy with you.
But yeah, we just walked home. But it was really cool. I love seeing, ooh, look at the rainfall. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Let's do our ad because we got a lot to get to.
Okay. What do you got for us today?
Well, I picked my ad again. Well, I picked this ad because I want one of these.
Oh, okay. What is it?
It is a 3-piece in one. Saves money, time, and work. It is a beautiful.
I want 2 of them.
I need
Those
one.
Are beautiful.
Actually, I'm looking for one.
How much were they? $19.95. Can you
bargain
even imagine?
Price? $2 monthly. $19.95.
Oh, you could even make payments.
Right.
Send only $1 with coupon.
Schiffer robe, 3-piece in one, offered to you below, actual cost. But look at that. You've got drawers, you've got a desk, you've got a mirror, you've got another large mirror, you've got a place for suits. I need this in my life. I need it for my new rental house.
Well, tell me, what does it say it's made out of? I bet it's solid oak for $20.
Yep, let me see. For writing, for dressing, for wardrobe, 30 days, mail now. Let's see. Spear and Company out of Pittsburgh. Rich-bound American walnut. Solidly constructed.
Oh, gosh, I bet that's beautiful.
The shiffer rope is made of, oh, no, wait a minute. 3-ply hardwood veneers.
Oh.
Built up stock, air seasoned, and kiln dried.
We do not make 1 cent a profit. We actually lose money. Doubt that.
Doubt it.
Okay.
The case is equipped with a sliding metal hanger bar and 2 garment hangers. Great mirror. I mean, it's just beautiful.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And I love the legs that it's on. Sold below cost to win new friends.
Well, I hope it was solid. Those legs, sometimes, if you feel that too heavy.
Well, it's not. It's a 1920, so you know it has to be.
Yeah. What a cool piece of furniture.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah, 1995. Dang.
Yeah, you can't. But I do need one.
What do you think something like that costs now?
Oh, you could probably pick something like that up now for $400 or $500 maybe at a antique store. But I have to find one. I need a wardrobe just like that because, you know, Jim and I are doing that Airbnb.
Yeah.
With the house we bought, and I need, because one of the rooms is small and it doesn't have a closet.
Ah.
So I need something with the dresser and the closet. I need that in my life.
Yeah, so if you're watching the show and you have something like that and you would like to sell it to Stacey, reach out to us at, by the way, with Beth and Stacey at gmail.com.
Yes, because I need one.
Yeah.
I'm going on the look for it because I need it soon.
Yeah.
The other bedrooms have closets in them. One's got a really big closet, and then the other one's a smaller closet. But I mean, like I said, we're doing the Airbnb thing with it. So I got my first renter coming over Thanksgiving.
Awesome.
Yeah, so gonna start listing that soon. Got some small things to do. The outside, of course, isn't gonna be done because it's cold now. We can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
I ran out of money, but the inside looks really, really nice. It's looking really good in there. So yeah,
good.
You'll be seeing that advertised here shortly.
Awesome.
Okay, so
let's talk about the weather.
Is there a song about the weather?
There's so many songs about the weather.
It's raining men.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. No.
There's a lot of songs about rain, though.
I can't stand the rain against my window.
Yeah.
By Tina Turner.
Yeah, I was thinking of Kentucky Rain. Isn't there?
Cold Kentucky rain.
Yeah.
Elvis.
Yeah.
One of my favorite Elvis songs.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And what's Creedence do? Creedence does a song about rain.
Here comes the rain. Here comes the rain.
Here comes the rain again.
Yeah, that's
falling on my head
that's
like
the
a
Eurythmics.
Ooh, she's got a great voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Creedence got one about the rain, too. Oh, windshield wipers slapping down the window.
Yeah.
Keeping perfect rhythm with the song on the radio. Whoa.
She said she doesn't listen to country, but she
Gotta
just
keep
proved
it roll.
that
Is Eddie Rabbit really country?
He is.
Is Eddie Rabbit really country?
He is country, yes.
Yeah.
Eddie Rabbit. It's my son Silas used to love Eddie Rabbit songs when he was little.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he would sing those in the back seat.
Well, that's because Silas has good taste. Do you want me to start with the weather that I found from 1816, and then we'll move up to where we're at now? Okay, so I found this column from Rena Lentz Thomas. And I had never heard about this before. It was the 1816 weather tragedy. Okay. This is crazy. Okay. In 1816, it was called the Year Without a Summer. Okay. It was reported that the year 1860, the weather was so cold that ice was frozen every day in June, and every month of that year experienced frost and freezing weather. June 17 was the most memorial date, as a big snow fell to the depth of 10 inches, and many people were found frozen to death.
And what
this
county?
Is across the United States.
Across the United States.
It ruined every crop we had in the United States.
Okay.
Get this. The average temperature during the summer of 1816 was 45 degrees.
Holy moly.
Yes. And all crops failed because it was too cold for vegetation of any kind to grow. Get this. July and August were colder than June, and ice was reported an inch or two thick.
Even in the southern part of the United States?
Yeah, this was the entire...
Wow.
Yeah.
Wonder what the deal was. Like, now that we know a little... Okay.
I'm going to tell you a little bit about the deal.
Okay.
On August 30th, another heavy snow fell, and the entire summer was bleak and dreary, as November usually was. There was also very little rain for the entire season. Farm work was done with heavy coats and gloves on, and it was necessary to consume a lot of fuel for heating purposes. In September, now we're talking now, September can be in the 90s. Mm-hmm. In September, the temperature reached 70 degrees. Can you believe that? Wow. The wind blew a gale from the north most of the time, and it was fierce and cold. This unusual weather was experienced more severely in the eastern states, but it is a matter of record that it was extremely cold through the entire middle and western and southern and northern states.
Wow.
Here's another problem we had. We had a lack of sunlight in 1816. It became so severe that farmers lost crops, and the food shortages were reported in Ireland, France, England, and the United States.
Oh, wow.
So it was a total global mess. Wow. So what caused the weather? Okay, the bizarre weather disaster, the eruption of an enormous amount of volcanic ash into the upper atmosphere. Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, where was that at?
The dust from Mount Tambora, which had erupted early in 1815, had shrouded the globe with ash, and with the sunlit blocked, 1860 did not have a normal summer.
Isn't that amazing that one volcano eruption somewhere in another part of the world affected us so badly in other countries as well that it caused a food shortage a whole year later?
Yeah. Many of the people of that day believed this cause and that the rapid cooling of the sun had caused the cold.
So they didn't know about the volcano because back then there wasn't like the internet.
So nobody.
So they didn't know what was causing it. They just thought the sun had cooled off, and they probably thought they were all going to die.
I bet they thought it was the coming of Christ. I bet they thought it was over. I bet it was the end of times. They were thinking. Only a third to a fourth of the hay was cut, with only 10% of the crop harvested in some areas. Orchard yields ranged from barren to moderate, but enough grain, wheat, and potatoes were harvested to prevent famine. So they did have enough grain, wheat, and potatoes. There were reports of people eating raccoons, pigeons, and mackerel.
Do you not normally eat mackerel? I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know that I've ever eaten mackerel.
I don't think I have.
But
corn prices rose from $1 a bushel to nearly $3 a bushel. You're talking 1816 too. That's a lot. With crop failures and a shortage of hay, farmers turned to selling their cows and pigs, which drove the price of meat down. With so much meat on the market, beef prices dropped from $15.50 to $7.50 a barrel, with pork falling from $16 to $4 a barrel. Wow. Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back with this 1816 weather tragedy known as the Poverty Year.
Okay.
How fascinating.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
At your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville, you can count on experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, the Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville carry a large inventory of Napa products for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced associates understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa Know-How at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville. Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
We like technology at Flora Savings Bank. Here's what you can accomplish in our mobile banking app in less than 30 seconds. See account balances in your transactions, set up an account alert, make a transfer between accounts, get an alert text message about your transfer, pay a bill, turn your debit card off and then back on. It all happens in the palm of your hand with our free My Bank to Go app. Search My Bank to Go in the App Store or Google Play and give mobile banking a try. Flora Savings Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Doors, paint, windows, electrical, plumbing, and much more. Oh yeah, give me all your guns too.
John Lucas.
What?
You better be dreaming about all the stuff we sell here at Zink Building Center.
Oh, I would. Zink Building Center in Louisville on Route 45. It's a cool place.
Welcome back to, by the way, Today we are talking about weather. Stacy keeps making me laugh right before we come back.
So, it's a gift.
It is a gift.
So I was talking about the weather tragedy of 1816.
Yes.
And it was actually known as the Poverty Year. There was a poem written by Eileen Marquette. Would you say Marquet? Would that be Marquet?
Marquette? I'm not sure.
Which sums up the event. Here's the poem she wrote. It didn't matter whether your farm was large or small. It didn't matter if you had no farm at all. The snow and frost continued without the warming sun. One day in June it got real hot and leaves began to show, but after that it snowed again and wind and cold did blow. No cows and horses had no grass, no grain to feed the chicks, no hay to put aside that time, just dry and shriveled sticks. The sheep were cold and hungry, and many starved to death, still waiting for the warming sun to save their labor's breath. The kids were disappointed, no swimming, just such a shame. It was in 1816, the summer that never came. We never know what lies ahead of us, and I am certain that the people did not see this weather event in 1816. Not foresee the weather of 1816.
Yeah, that was a good little poem.
Global. It was global.
Yeah.
Yeah, all because volcanic ash. That thing must have.
It must have been one heck of a volcano.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I bet it was huge.
And it wasn't, and they didn't even know, like I skipped over some things because we got a lot of weather to cover, but like I said, and nobody even, I mean, it just happened 1816. It wasn't till 40 years later. Yeah, 40 years later that then people started studying the weather and stuff, and everybody's like, "Oh, wait a minute, this is why this happened." Several years later. Mm-hmm. How interesting!
Yes. Wow. I'd heard about the year without a summer, but I didn't really know all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd never heard of it till I found that column. But I've come to the realization that you and I are Les Nessman from WKRP in Cincinnati. Yes. Mm-hmm. We are eyewitness weathermen.
Yes.
We look outside and we witness the weather.
Yep, that's it. Yep. It's partly cloudy today.
Yeah, it's partly cloudy. And to be a meteorologist, and this, I don't want me to upset any meteorologists, but literally, it just throw up a sun, throw up a cloud, put a raindrop, you've got partly cloudy with a chance of rain.
Yeah.
This time of year, throw in a snowflake, partly cloudy with a chance of rain and snow. I mean...
Yeah, I know there's a lot of science behind it, and some meteorologists are really good about it, but also some channels just hire news people, and then they have to read the weather. They're not really the meteorologist.
Yeah.
There's some channels, I think, that have actual scientists doing it, and others that don't. But
well, my favorite meteorologists are the people off Twister, because they knew when that thing was coming, and I love Twister.
I like that movie, too.
So what year are we going to go to now and talk about?
We're jumping way ahead.
Yeah,
I mean, there were other extreme weather events, but this awesome little scrapbook that I have in front of me was passed over to me to use for a few episodes, and it is amazing. And
it is amazing.
It has this whole entire scrapbook is on weather events.
How fun!
And I'm not entirely sure, but I think this was either Rena Thomas's or Don Thomas's scrapbook. So jumping ahead to 1977.
I was 10 years old.
I was -2. But we're going to talk about some really bad weather that came along in 77. So a lot of people have talked about, all the snow in the 70s. So there was a lot of snow through the 70s, even into the early mid-80s.
It was awesome.
When I was a kid, I remember lots of snow, feet of snow.
Oh, yeah.
Not inches, you got feet.
Well, I remember, back in the 70s when I was, my entire family, we had snowmobiles.
Oh, you did?
We had snowmobiles. We went snowmobile riding all over Clay County.
Okay.
A lot of times that's how you could get where you needed to go, yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that
we had
people had those here.
Oh, yeah, we had them all through my younger years.
Wow. Okay.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about 1977, specifically January of 1977, when this really bad weather system came through. It affected a lot of the United States. So some of the things I'm going to read are not local. Some of it will be local. But the gas levels were dwindling. So this was part of the problem because people were using more natural gas to keep their pipes from freezing. And it says the giant Columbia Gas of Ohio, West Ohio Gas Company, and East Ohio Gas Company announced immediate and near 100% cutoffs of gas supplies for their largest industrial customers. So they started shutting off the factories to preserve the gas utilities for people at home because of the unrelenting cold wave that has sent temperatures plunging below zero and millions of thermostats soaring above 70. So people were turning the heat up because it was so freezing cold outside. And this cold snap lasted and lasted and lasted. So gas was low. And then because it was low, you can imagine that the gas company, the usage went up. And I think they even raised the price a little bit. Can you imagine that?
No, that's shocking.
Yeah, let me see. It was
Let's make it harder on people.
there was blizzard warnings. Southern Illinois started running low on road salt. So this was important because they, all the people were, to get around, you had to salt the roads because everything was frozen. Southern Illinois.
What year are we talking to?
77.
Because, the front wheel drive, no car is good on this stuff because the front wheel, four-wheel drives, front wheel drives really wasn't around at this time.
People were using snow tires.
I remember
they had
the
chains on their tires.
My dad would chain up the tires,
So they decided that if they couldn't get any more road salt, they were switching over to abrasives like cinder, sand, or slag. They ordered it, but the problem is that all of this stuff arrives by barge from Louisiana. And for all practical purposes, the Mississippi River was closed to barge traffic.
They just closed down the Mississippi.
There was so much ice that the Mississippi River was closed. So that was a problem. We weren't receiving any road salt, or even the sand and the slag and all that was hard to get. The slag might have been a little bit easier, but the others were not. The cows, people that owned cows, they were losing them. They were freezing to death. There was one at the Ted Madison farm north of Flora. I don't know Ted Madison, but his cows wandered out onto his pond and the ice gave way.
Oh, no.
All of his cows froze. This was a similar situation going on all over. The cows were thirsty because everything was ice and not water. They were drawn to ponds, but the ponds were frozen, so the cows would go out onto the ice, and then this was happening all over. So I think, let's see, the whys of the weather. It said the problem started in the central Pacific Ocean where the upper level airflow turned north over Alaska, giving that state a warmer than usual winter, and then south over the United States. And the result for St. Louis and surrounding areas was that Arctic air masses were brought down from Canada frequently and rapidly with bone-chilling temperatures and plenty of snow. So it was just some kind of weird weather event that just repeatedly, it was like repetition. It would clear up and then boom, hit again, clear up and then boom, hit again. So it started in November and it just kind of got locked into place in 1977. So the jet stream was farther south than normal and particularly pronounced, it says. So it was just, the bottom line was it was a really bad winter.
It was bad.
Yes. So Miami got snow for the first time.
Ooh, yeah.
And the Midwest was still freezing. The Florida, anything growing in Florida was frozen. All their crops were pretty well ruined for the year. Vegetable crops were just wiped out mid-harvest. Squash, peas, beans, citrus fruits, fresh vegetables, all of that stuff was gone. 150,000 migrant farm laborers all lost their jobs for months. People that went south to from here to work. But also the farm laborers that came over from Texas and Mexico and all those places, they just were all out of work.
Nobody was working.
No work. It started taking its toll on wildlife. So raccoons were using up their heavy rolls of fat. Small birds were dying of starvation. Everything was suffering to some degree, said the biologist.
So let's go back to the raccoons and the fat. So all I need is for a really hard freeze to come,
and then
I could burn up all my fat on my body.
It said it was the longest snow cover we've ever had. So not only was it just like one little week-long event, it was just this continuing winter pattern. And the snow just got here and it didn't leave for pretty much of all of the winter of 77 is how I'm understanding from all these articles. So let me go on with the wildlife here. 20,000 ducks in Illinois up north were just sort of desperate for food. The ducks were just sort of wandering all over trying to find anything to grab at, and even in places they didn't usually go. Down at Crab Orchard National Wildlife Refuge near Carbondale, that's usually the winter home of thousands of Canadian geese. The workers down there had to actually start putting out 400 bushels of corn a day to supplement the planted feed buried under snow. So they knew they had all of these geese that winter there. And, just to save them, they just started feeding them down there. Wow. But there was basically no, all of the wildlife in the woods and everything, the deer and everything were dying off because there just wasn't enough to even nibble at. The snow was so deep. Rabbits, they could survive, but they were, because they can kind of bury under snow and stuff, but they were also the food for the other things that were having trouble finding food. Yeah. So they actually ended up not really surviving either. Heavy losses of quail and other small birds were the big deal. But it was hard on everything. Let's see the next article. Blizzards.
Let's take a real quick break, and then we'll come right back with more blizzards.
Okay.
If you're looking for a loan for your brand new home, call Clay County State Bank. If you want to transfer money so your future will look sunny, call Clay County State Bank.
We got checking and savings and bill pay too.
An online banking, just ask our crew. For all your banking needs, we think you will agree.
Clay County State Bank is the place you need to be. Clay County State Bank.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
It's the weekend and your symptoms are worsening. The morning of a big meeting and you have a bigger sore throat. Ever experienced that urgency after picking up your sick child and your community health center has already closed? You will be able to connect to a provider at crhpc.org. Even if you have never been to CRHPC, you are welcome to utilize our services. Feel better after scheduling a video visit with CRHPC.
Tomorrow. Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating. So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans that the future holds for you, you can be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County Farmers Mutual Insurance.
Welcome back to By the Way. We're talking about the big weather event in 1977. It was just a really rough winter with continuous snowfall and blizzards and freezing temperature. So I'm going to go, this was in January of 1977. All of the interstates were closed, especially the ones that were a little bit north of here. Interstates 57, which is closer to home, 55, 80, 90, and 94, and 74. They were all covered under 6 to 7 foot snow drifts.
Wow.
That's how deep it was. So the interstate entrance ramps were barricaded. One woman died near Sullivan, where she left her car on Illinois Route 32 and tried to walk to safety because she couldn't get through the snow.
You never
and
leave your car.
No, she froze to death. Bless her heart. She was killed. There were roads closed everywhere, but it was also a lot of freezing rain that was coming. You know, of course,
That's the worst.
all the snows, all the schools were closed. Roofs started to collapse from all of the heavy snow. In Salem, the temperature dropped to 17 below zero. And at the water plant, everything was frozen up at the water plant. The gas pressure for the city fell below the point where even pilot lights were going out in people's homes. So they couldn't keep the gas going. They couldn't even keep their pilot lights going because the gas was all I don't know, what's the word? Like they needed it. It was a demand, but it couldn't keep up.
Just couldn't. Supply and demand. You just couldn't get it.
World Color Press in Salem, that's who used 20% of all of the gas in the city. They had to cut back to only 30% of their regular usage to try to keep going. There was a lot of places that were closed because their roofs were about to collapse.
Oh, gosh.
The snow cover was around 10 inches on the ground. One of the plants in Salem set its thermostat back to 50 degrees, but continued production just asked its workers to come in and be prepared and to come in dressed warmly, just to try to keep going. But the death number from this storm just kept going up and up. 2 women were killed. They lost control on a slippery road, slammed head onto a truck trailer. There was a little boy. He was 12 years old. His name was Lee McNaught. He actually had rheumatoid arthritis. They threw that in there. I'm not sure. I guess that's why he wasn't walking. But he died, and this happened in Peoria. His father was trying to carry him from a basketball gymnasium out to the car, and they both fell on the ice, and the boy died.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I mean,
it's tragic.
It's just one big sad story after another. The world is one big ice skating rink. And that was a quote from State Police Trooper John Donahue at DuQuoin. Lots of stories of jackknife trucks. Gunmen, this is interesting. Police said a gunman robbed a liquor store south of Effingham, about a mile south of the state police headquarters. So about a mile south of Hartville would have been where that would have been.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that liquor store is, but and then vanished into the blinding snowstorm. Well, police arrived in a few minutes, but there wasn't a trace of the robber. So that robber could still be around today, and he might be watching our show.
He might
be like, I got away with that.
Yeah.
I picked the right time. But I'm surprised that they could. I guess it was snowing so hard they couldn't. His footprints just filled up.
But he must have survived it because he never found a dead body once.
He probably lived next door or something and had a short walk.
Got to get that liquor. If you're going to be snowed inside with family, you better be liquored up, right?
The further south from here, the Mississippi was open for a while, trying to get barges through in a 20-mile stretch between Grand Tower and Cape Girardeau, but it actually had a terrible barge accident that sent one barge to the bottom and the other one completely missing.
At the Mississippi.
So, in the Mississippi. A towboat ran aground. It was all shipments of grain and steel were slowed down. But, okay, let me skip ahead because there's just so much to cover. Ty, I think I have some pictures that I've sent. Let's look at that one. This is a picture of the Mississippi River, and this is when they were trying to clear it. You can see all the barges just frozen in place, and the men that manned these barges. I wonder. I don't have any of this in my notes, but I wonder, were they able to get off and just be like, "I'll come back in a few weeks," or
were they stuck
did they
on
have
the
to
barges?
Hunker down on there?
I don't know. But
I don't know
where
either.
Where do you clear that ice at? Where do you push it to?
Off to the side. I don't know. I don't know. Where does it go? Because it's not melting because it's still below zero, and it is still just one storm after another. I mean, as soon as they think, this is it, it's gonna get a little better, it would be boom, here comes another one. Okay, Ty, what other picture do I have there? Okay,
yeah.
that one I'm not quite ready for.
Yeah, that's
I'm gonna
the
come.
ice storm.
I'm gonna come to that one in a few minutes. Here we go.
I
okay,
love this. This is
this
great.
one, yes, this is in Flora. This is some of the Flora residents are getting a special taxi service to the Senior Citizen Center today. Let me see if I can read, if it tells me all the names in my little book of who those ladies are.
There is on that one side. I was reading a little bit of them. Look how cute they are.
Yeah, Irene Zink, I think, is one of them. Martha Clowers, Linda White, Rosemary Oliver. Yeah, that was some of the people that rode on this homemade sleigh.
It literally looks like it's a couch.
Yes. Yeah, it does. It looks like they use some type of furniture, but there's also a straw bale I can see from the back on one of the other views of it. But yeah,
it looks like they're having a great time.
They do. I mean, here it is like below zero, and they're all bundled up, and they're like, still going to the senior center. I got bingo to play. You know, like I'm sorry that everybody is snowed in and no one has any gas for heat, and it's just such terrible winter. But I'm gonna go play bingo.
I'm gonna go play bingo.
I'm just guessing that's what they were doing.
I bet that's exactly what they were doing. I love that picture.
Yes,
that's a great picture.
Yes, so that is another one.
I love it.
I'm not sure what other ones I have. Yeah, let's do that one.
Poor
yeah,
this is these guys, mail carriers. I'm telling you what,
they are the
saints.
toughest people.
They are tough. It doesn't matter. The mail never stops.
These are the Flora City carriers for the post office, and I'm going to list them for you from left to right. We have Dale Bowen. Because a lot of you are going to remember these guys. We have Charlie Overstreet. I can see him back there. He's in the back.
I can see him back there.
John Cox, Harold Stanford, Jim McNelly, and Bob Garrett. Okay, so these men, neither snow nor rain nor heat nor gloom of night stays these couriers from the swift completion of their appointed rounds.
I mean, look at the adverse weather conditions don't keep diligent Flora postmen down.
That's the inscription on the General Post Office in New York City. So neither snow nor rain nor heat nor gloom of night stays these couriers from the swift completion of their appointed rounds.
Yeah.
I like that. So yeah, this was a tough bunch. They were out there in this below zero weather, still delivering the mail. Despite heavy snowfalls, slick sidewalks and porches, and chill factors of less than 50 degrees below zero.
See, I don't think people realize exactly what you're saying right now. Because you're talking slippery.
It's slick.
Falling. People being, of course, they didn't have a lot of cars right now, but people out on the roads acting like fools like they do nowadays. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
walking upstairs. Can you imagine?
A chill factor of less than 50 degrees below zero.
Yeah.
Okay, this is insane
Your skin
weather.
freezes fast.
Yeah. So it says that during recent years, the post office system has been the subject of much bad press. I didn't know that.
Why?
But in weather such as Flora experienced in January, there is nothing possible except praise for the men in blue and gray that made sure the mail got through, despite the hazard to their own safety and comfort.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
I can't even.
I know, right?
I can't even imagine.
There was one happiness is in the scrapbook. I have a picture of a polar bear, and he is very happy. He's at the St. Louis Zoo, and yeah, I'm not sure I sent that one, but he was. It shows a picture of a very happy polar bear. I mean, this is his life, you know.
He's digging it, man. He's loving it.
Yeah. So anyway, just some of the headlines. I'll just read some of the headlines. Blizzards hit upper Midwest. East towns buried. Motorists stranded as north wind blows. Towns buried, motorists stranded. And that is kind of the subject of like almost all of these. This headline is Clay County digs out after heavy snow. And this is again 1977. Odell calls Flora's gas situation critical. Will use propane mix Tuesday. Clay County's temperature hits 20 below zero. Schools cancel all classes today. So 20 below zero. Oh my gosh.
I'm just going to say this now. They cancel school for if it gets just bare. Yeah, I'm surprised we probably did go to school for a while. And we had no heat on the buses at the time. Just saying.
Our part of Illinois was actually worse than even Chicago.
Yeah.
And even south of here, it was one of those storms where the southern part of the state got it worse. I mean, there were 7 inches of snow in Chicago, so don't think that they were just easy breezy up there. 7 inches of snow
in Chicago is no big deal.
But down here, we had over 10, and we had these temperatures. And I have a picture of the bank corner. The temperature saying -1. But yeah. It was pretty crazy. So we can, let me see what this page is all about. So this picture here is, they're calling it Lake Washington. Florida residents have awakened to the sound of water gushing down their streets instead of snowplows pushing through. As the last couple of days, the temperatures warmed and the snow began to melt. So then you had another problem. Because one problem leads to another. So you had all the snow, which caused all these problems, but then it started to melt.
And then you have all the water.
And then you have Lake Washington. This is Washington Street in Florida that turned into Lake Washington. So the melting of the snow so quickly has created giant water hazards along Florida streets, such as this one at the intersection of West Washington and South Main. We all know that corner. I turn that corner every morning on my way back and forth to the high school. They called it Lake Washington. And it was axle deep in places and almost drowned out cars.
Wow.
Melting snow and ice forced a lot of cars into snowbanks and off into ditches today. So people were starting to get out, but really the roads weren't any better. They were at that slushy stage, which
it was probably actually worse.
Yeah, it actually could be worse.
Let's take a quick commercial break and we'll come back with that fun ice storm.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the ice next. So.
Do you bowl like this? That's great. Do you bowl like this? That's great too. That's because whether you're a pro or you just want to have a lot of fun, at Pegel's Silver Dollar Lanes, we have a lane for you. We have galaxy bowling, gaming for kids and adults, Joe's Pizza, a full bar, darts, pool, and fresh and clean bowling shoes. Boy, does that smell nice. So come on down to Pegel Silver Dollar Lanes in Effingham, where we have a lane for you.
My name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting the work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Florida for all your custom and promotional needs.
The insurance specialists have options to tailor to your needs at CSI Insurance Brokers. Experienced insurance brokers at CSI are skilled with all types of insurance plans and policies and represent many companies, including Safeco Insurance. You'll benefit from their detailed expertise, unbeatable premiums, and commitment to customer service. CSI Insurance Brokers and Safeco Insurance Company, providing affordable rates on quality insurance since 1952.
For over 50 years, at your locally owned and operated Royal King Supply in Salem and Olney, we've helped you and your neighbors enjoy an easy country lifestyle. We carry the most thorough sporting goods department around with a huge variety of hunting and fishing gear, camping equipment, and a variety of firearms for any need. Our team is here to help you find whatever you need. Open every day, it's Royal King in Salem and Olney, your locally owned farm and home store.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. We're talking about major weather events, and you kind of remember the storm in 77?
I do remember the storm of 77. It was all snowy, and I lived on South Locust Street, and when you're going down South Locust, there's a curve. I was in my neighbor's yard, and I was building a snowman. Okay? I'm little. I'm 10. I don't know it's cold outside. I'm building a snowman, and Dode's shoe store was right across the street on that same curve. Well, school was called off, and of course you have, 16, 17-year-old boys thinking they're invincible. We were going down this. I was building my snowman. They come barreling down South Locust, once again in cars, not four-wheel drive, not front-wheel drive, and they missed the curb. And I'm not going to say who they were, but they hit the tree. My snowman is literally on the other side of the tree. I'm on the other side of the tree, and one of those boys goes through the windshield of the car.
Oh, my gosh.
So I was 10 years old. He goes through the windshield. There's blood on me and my snowman.
Oh, my gosh.
That's how, it was literally like, you're the tree they hit, I'm me.
Oh, my gosh. You're lucky that they did not kill you.
They're lucky they didn't kill me. So, but, like I said, people don't understand. You're
not
going to stay on the path.
You had a guardian angel there with you that day.
I totally did. And then I remember my dad heard it. He came running out, and then Doe's shoes. I can't remember what his name was. I just went blank. But had the shoe repair store. He came out, and then I remember my mom taking me, and I remember that boy, and all he had was like a white towel. And I remember him sitting in front of Doe's shoe store with his face down, and that white towel was just red because he had shattered his face with glass.
Oh my gosh, he's lucky he was alive
like,
too.
They call things off for a reason.
Yeah, stay off the road.
Stay off the road. I mean,
Or at least if you have to get out, don't drive like an idiot.
Well, that's the other thing. It's like, then like when the flooding comes, people think it's really fun to like drive down the roads and shoot water up everywhere. You're shooting it into people's yards and people's homes. Right there where the pizza pit was at, when it flooded right there, it drove the owners crazy because like they just go barreling down through town and it literally pushed it in their restaurant.
Oh.
So it's like you got to respect the weather.
Yeah.
It's something you don't want to. You got to respect it.
That's right.
But that's one thing. Now, I remember, we're going to talk about the ice storm of, 79?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that now. So
I loved it. I remember it well, too.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the big ice storm that came. It started on February the 25th, which was a Sunday of 1979. I was 3 weeks old.
I was 12.
My parents had this brand new newborn baby.
Oh, my gosh.
And no power. The power went out at our house.
Yeah. Oh, power went off.
Yes, the power went out everywhere. So let's take a look at the picture there, Ty, that you showed before, and we'll talk about that. These power lines. This is here in Flora.
Yeah, it snapped them. They were on the ground. It snapped them.
And I only shared one picture of the lines, but I have several. They were down everywhere. It says damage from the weekend storm is shown here. This is a power pole on West 12th Street, which carried both light and telephone cables. The pole snapped in two, but some of the lines are still together. Power lines were out all over town. So this ice is heavy, and it just snapped everything.
I remember the trees. Well, you don't remember because I remember the trees. Just at first they're just beautiful, and then they kind of like everybody looks like a weeping willow, and then they were just like crashing. It was one of those things, Beth, that you could literally hear them, the trees breaking. Yeah.
There was 1,500 to 2,000 poles destroyed by the storm. Some of the primary power lines were restored by Wednesday, so this happened on Sunday. Some were restored by Wednesday. Other people were without power for about 3 weeks. I think that the neighborhood that we lived in was one of the last to get the power back because I remember, and I hope I remember this correctly, my parents took me and my brother, and they went and stayed with my dad's parents for a little while because they had already got their power back on. So my grandparents lived on Sunset Drive. And their power was one of the first to come back on.
Yeah.
And so my parents had kind of exhausted their heating. I think they had been using kerosene heaters maybe.
We had, I remember my mom and dad had just built on a big back family room and dining room. They knew the storm was coming. My mother actually, we had 2 bathtubs in our house, 2 full bathrooms. I remember my mom bleaching out the bathtubs. And then they filled them to the top with water. And did that. And then I remember, like, in the back room, like, you'd walk down through the kitchen, and I remember my mom hanging blankets, like, over the doorways, like, from the kitchen to that back family room. And because we had a fireplace down there, and it was great. I loved it because and we're all sleeping back there. My dad went and rounded up some of the older neighborhood ladies to take care of them. So it was like a slumber party.
Oh, cool! With your neighbors, with your old lady neighbors.
With the old lady neighbors, and we just hunkered down. We had wood. We cooked. We made popcorn.
Oh,
so I'm 12 years old, and I'm thinking we're just having this big old slumber party.
Oh,
but
wow.
I remember because like I said, my mom she was smart to do that, and we didn't run out of water because a lot of people water lines were freezing.
Yes,
people didn't have water.
Yeah, so people didn't have water. People didn't have electricity, and the gas. If you were had a gas stove, I think you could still light it with a match or something. But and
I think I don't remember we didn't have a gas stove. But we cooked over that fireplace.
The other problem was the grocery stores were all closed because they also were without power. And when they were out without power, their freezers were without power.
And let me tell you another thing about the grocery stores. You couldn't get in because they were all automatic doors.
Oh, well, yeah. What'd you have to do? Go in the back door.
I don't remember. I didn't go to the store.
Yeah, but it was cold out, so some of the things were able to be saved, but the grocery stores did lose a lot of stuff just because of the lack of the power. And so, let's see, here's a quote from Mike Anderson of Andy's Market.
Yeah.
He reported about the same conditions as Roar's Grocery above had reported that he was able to put a generator on his freezers and keep them going. So Mike did the same thing with the generators. He said his freezers were out, but that he sold out of a large amount of merchandise when he opened on Monday. So as soon as the grocery stores were able to open, people were running up there and pretty much buying out everything. And then there was also a quote from Dorothy Humphrey. Do you remember Dot?
I do remember Dot.
I love Dot Humphrey.
Yes,
she
they
was
own the IGA.
Yes,
didn't they?
wife of Flora IGA owner Bill Humphrey, and they reported the same thing. They were able to keep all their groceries. They didn't lose anything. It was cold enough inside to help everything keep. So that worked
that
for
was
them.
one bonus. Yeah.
The Clay City supermarket owner, Robert Adcock, he used a portable generator, but he did lose ice cream. For whatever reason, his ice cream was lost. Apparently.
That's weird.
It melted. I don't know.
You just set it outside?
I don't know. I guess he was probably more concerned about the meat and stuff, and maybe he just... I remember another...
Robert,
if you're still alive.
I got to tell you a real quick funny story. So I remember when this happened, and we had dogs. Okay, so we brought our animals in the house because you didn't want them to freeze, right? So the animals come in, but then it was. I remember a day that kind of got sunny, and so my dad was like, okay, they could put the dogs back outside for a little bit. And of course, one thing that was important to keep. It was my dad had like some beer outside, and that beer froze.
Did it bust?
And busted. Well, when my dogs really enjoyed it because it was like beer popsicles to them.
Oh my gosh! And your dogs drunk?
They were drunk.
Your dogs were drunk.
Yeah, and I think that was the worst part about that was my dad. And I don't really even remember my dad drinking much beer. But yeah, he's like, "Oh, we better have this beer out there. We don't want it, keep it outside."
Well, he probably thought, "I'm not going anywhere for a few days, and I might have a beer, relax in the evening with my old lady neighbors."
But he didn't because
the dogs
my dogs drank, and I'll never forget that as long as I. That was the funniest thing ever.
That's hilarious.
I remember them. They were both like. Dad was like, the dogs drank my beer.
That's too
beer
funny.
Popsicles.
Oh my gosh. Big John's manager, Richard Inlow, he reported that he used about 1,000 pounds of dry ice, plus the ice from the commercial storage house outside is stored in an attempt to prevent spoilage to his produce. But he ended up losing some ice cream, a few frozen foods, and some meat, but everything else was all right.
No, I don't understand.
As cold, maybe it was just the right temperature in there for things to spoil. It was still warm enough in there.
Freeze it too much.
I don't know. I mean, maybe, I don't know.
Is maybe there a freezer bird? Is there
maybe
something?
It was like 50 degrees inside the grocery store or something, like warm enough it could spoil but not cold enough to keep.
Okay, now that makes but I think if it was 50 degrees inside with temperature, I would have just taken it all outside, but then people would have stole it.
Yeah. But I think that would have been better than it. Yeah. People were asked to boil their water.
I remember that. Oh, yeah.
Because the water pressure fell below 20 pounds.
Yep.
This was in effect for quite a while, the boil water order. There was also obstructions to the water lines.
So much happening.
Yes. Let's see what else it says. So governor was James Thompson. He asked for an emergency, what do they call it? Federal disaster money for certain counties. Clay County was not one of the counties.
Of course we didn't get it.
He hated our guts. He's like, I'm not giving you a prison, and I'm not going to give you any grant money.
We is not. No.
This was 10 years before we is.
It is, but it's still funny.
Same guy still there.
Still around.
Yeah, but no,
That's funny.
he the 23 counties he approved for this, and they were all around us, mainly to the south. But there was also ones, Wayne County, which is still south, but that's closer.
Sure.
And then others to the west of us, counties to the west.
Basically, Wayne County, Richland County, Marion County, Effingham County. Sorry, Clay.
Yeah, Effingham County didn't either, but apparently he drew the line at Clay and was like, yeah, no, I know you guys haven't had power in 3 weeks. I know everything's broken there and you don't have any power lines anywhere ever.
You know what? I bet he knew Clay County. We had grit and gumption.
That's right. And we were just eager to fend for ourselves.
That's okay.
We didn't need him.
Give our tax dollars to somebody else.
Yes.
We'll be fine. How funny.
Yeah.
That's great.
Crazy. So we were not on the disaster list. But schools were closed for quite a while. Power was out everywhere. But yeah, gosh. I had a few more storms to talk about, but I'll save them for another episode.
Let's save them.
They're summer storms. They're not. They're more about heat waves and stuff. So we'll save that for.
Yeah, we definitely want to do that. We can't mix the cold and the the warm.
Yeah, no, we just talk about a couple big snowy ones today out of this awesome old scrapbook that I have.
That's awesome.
So cool. So yeah. What I'm using.
So it really kind of blows out the whole global warming.
Yeah.
18 to 16.
There's crazy stuff all the time. It's just that the world rolls.
Yeah. It's like Beth and I were talking earlier, like everybody needs to keep a weather journal because you got some people right now going, well, we didn't have a fall. We've had a beautiful fall.
We've had a great fall.
It's beautiful. The spring, it rains.
I don't know where the people were that were saying that we haven't had a fall this year. I think it's like been the best ever.
I think it's been gorgeous.
Those are the same people that, and when summer rolls around, they'll be like, it is really chilly in May. I don't remember. It's always hot in May. It's like, no, actually, there's a lot of chilly days in May and early June. It happens.
It happens.
Like, start writing down the weather. And I'm saying that, and I'm not even a weather watcher, but I can remember from year to year, you know, how our weather patterns fall. Or people will say in the spring, oh, my gosh, we've had so much rain this spring.
This has been the worst spring ever.
I doubt it. Every spring has a ton of rain. I don't know where else you've been living, but I've been in Clay County for like 30 years now, and
I've been in Clay County for 56, and it's always wet.
Yeah.
It's always rainy. Yeah, from now on, everybody's like, oh my God, this is the coldest winter. I'm going to be like, let me tell you about 1816.
Yeah, no kidding. Or in February. I can remember lots of Februaries where there's always, it doesn't last long, but people will have on shorts.
Cold.
No, there's always a couple of days where people wear shorts, like towards the end of February.
That's
and people
silly.
are like, this has never happened before. It's so warm. And it's like, well, we had 2 days where it got up to 80 in February. It happens almost every year. Pay attention.
I love it.
Yeah.
What do you got? Thomas Edison.
Oh, he's a good one.
Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up.
Oh. Yeah, but sometimes
boom, Thomas Edison.
You can't see past that, though. You think you're failing. You're like, I might as well cut my losses now.
Right.
But you're just so close to succeeding.
Thomas Edison just made me feel bad about myself.
He's a wise man.
Yeah. You were close to success, and then you gave up. No. Exactly. How far do you push something before you finally give it up?
We're not giving up.
Nope, never.
Never. Goonies never say die.
Goonies never say die.
we're not gonna give up. We're not gonna say die.
Yeah. How crazy.
Yes.
Awesome.
We'll just have to start calling us the Goonies. That's
the Goonies.
Yeah.
I'll take the Goonies.
I like the
great
Goonies.
Show.
Oh man, that's a classic.
That's a classic. It's awesome.
Love it.
But that's it today.
That's it for today. But if you ever want to reach out to us with a show idea, a question, a comment, please email us at bytheway@gmail.com. You can also message us on Facebook. Please like and follow our Facebook page, By the Way with Beth and Stacey. And as always, you can catch us on Channel 100 Catch TV daily at 11 a.m. New episodes air on Thursdays and Fridays, and new episodes are on our YouTube channel on Mondays, and all of our episodes can be found on YouTube. So if you're looking for a past episode you want to rewatch, the YouTube channel is By the Way with Beth and Stacey. So,
well, great show.
Yes, we will catch you next time. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.
God bless you. Have a great day.